You're on record already? Good. Okay. So I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Board of Finance to order. Today is Tuesday, December 15th, 2020. Members of the Board of Finance attending at City Hall are Mrs. Pesky participating via Zoom. We have Mr. Boynton, Mr. Wright, Mr. Bayes, and Mr. Anderson. I think, does that count for everybody?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. So we'll jump right into the meeting. Item number 1 on the agenda is I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the regular meeting held November 17th, 2020.
So moved, Anderson.
Thank you, Mr.
Second,
Anderson.
right.
And a second. Any questions or comments on the minutes?
One abstention, Mayor.
Okay. So I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
One abstention.
opposed? And one abstention for Mr. Bayes.
Yep.
Item 2 on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to authorize the reallocation of $16,515 from contingency to the Torrington Youth Service Bureau for the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget as approved by the City Council on December 7th, 2020.
So moved, Mrs. Pesky.
Thank you, Ms. Pesky.
Second, Mr. Bayes.
And seconded by Mr. Bayes. Now I have Kathy Ohm on the call. Instead of asking her to do her presentation, did anybody have any questions on the motion, or did you want to hear the full presentation?
Good.
No?
No,
I'm all set. I think it's a great allocation of funds, so no doubt in my mind.
Okay.
and what it does is ensure that the matching funds will be available. So it's not really a question in my
Right.
mind.
And just to explain what happened, and is Kathy unmuted? Is she? All right, so she can add if I miss anything. So just to explain what happened is 2 years ago, when the Torrington Youth Service Bureau was shutting down its operation, its executive director was leaving the organization. I think their staff was struggling to meet their goals and the mission. And there was a vote taken by their board to move all their operations under the YMCA. At that time, it was happening. As a matter of fact, I think we got looped in very late. We got looped in quite a bit after the fact, after the vote had been taken, when they came to the realization that the summer work program, which the city does, all of the vetting of the applicants and payroll, it's when they realized what role the city played that we got looped into that decision. And at the time, the budget allocation was close to $38,000. And what we learned was that our statutory required contribution was $14,000. So that's when we reduced the budget line item 2 years ago to $14,000. Fast forward to the current date, Kathy Ohm came to see me because what they realized is where they were filling in the gap in their funding to ensure they didn't lose the state grant was they were utilizing grant funds that they'd received from the Community Foundation. And after doing so, an audit found out that they couldn't do that, that the only funds they could use as a match to the grant, the state grant, were the municipal funds. 3 municipalities are included in that. That's Harwinton, Burlington, and Torrington. So that's when Kathy came to us after the second year of having this $14,000 appropriation and said, if we don't fix this, that they did stand to lose. And I think it ended up, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, close to $45,000 that you would lose if we didn't do this. Is that correct?
With the enhancement fund, it is $46,882, yes.
So, yeah. So I agree. I think this was one of those circumstances that, it's not until, those processes, went through that you realize, what does that match mean? And we can't afford to lose those funds. So I'm grateful that the city council agreed. Kathy did a great job presenting the situation. And more importantly, I think so many people don't even really understand what the Youth Service Bureau does for our kids and our community. So if there's anything else you wanted to add, Kathy?
No, I really appreciated how the city council really listened and how supportive they were. That was, we were, all my staff were here, and we afterwards were just speechless. And it felt humbling that that people really listened and that they understood, because it's a lot of money to lose. And I think we do great work. We can certainly do more. We're doing Christmas right now. There's not much else going on besides Christmas. But we make a huge difference. There's a lot of kids that come here because home is not a good place. Home is not a safe place. And here we have snacks and good conversations. And when the parents come home, they go home and they didn't sit all afternoon by themselves. And if we can just save a few like that, and the juvenile review process where we divert youth who have done a first-time small offense, that in the end saves, I don't even know how much that saves if we can keep people out of the court system. And together with the enhancement funds that we get from that, we can hook people up in pro-social activities so that they find their passion and maybe follow that instead of doing some silly things as smoking pot and, stuff like that. And we have really had some great successes. And I think the best thing about this is that kids come back, they stick with us. And I think that some of them are going to say, I wish I could still stop by there. I had somebody call me who's 21 and he says, can I stop by or am I too old? So I think it's a safe place, and it's a place where somebody is always and is willing to listen. And that doesn't always happen at home because there's so much stress right now with this whole pandemic.
And just for the board members, how many years, Kathy, did you say? This is 37 years?
7 years.
Yeah, that's a long history of service to the area. So if there are no other questions, I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our motion carries.
I appreciate your support.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas indeed. Thank you.
All right, moving into item 3, I'll entertain a motion to accept the financial reports relating to the 2019 and 2020 bonded projects.
So moved, Chris
Anderson.
Byers.
Thank you,
Second, Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Are there questions or comments on the financial reports? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, I'll entertain a motion to consider business by department heads.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bayes.
Second, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, Alice, is there anything you wanted to add this evening? All right, and we have Carol Anderson sitting in with us.
Mayor, if Alice is there,
Yes, she is.
I didn't get a chance at the last meeting to thank her. I know she'll be departing in a little bit, but I just want to thank her for answering all our questions over the years and sometimes driving her nuts. But we really do appreciate your service to the city, and thank you for all you've done.
Thank you. All right, item 5, I'll entertain a motion to consider business by the mayor and members of the Board of Finance.
So moved.
So move right.
Second.
I heard Ms. Pesky, I heard Mr. Wright, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anything this evening, Ms. Pesky?
We went on the lantern tour downtown, and it was a lot of fun. And I know that you and your Jerry, and I know Jim and your wife, and of so many people, that whole committee, it really is cool downtown. And it's something that you can do. Anybody can do. You can walk downtown and you can look at those windows and you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. There were people running the trains around that night. So I appreciated the Historical Society doing it. It was cold that night. And seeing the Warner sign all lit up, that can't wait to have that lit up.
Oh, I know it. I know.
Again. And I just want to wish the best to the rest of the committee here and everybody in City Hall. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it is you celebrate. Enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wright?
No, I'd just like to wish everyone a happy holiday and looking forward to a new year. So,
Are you going to decorate that tree behind you?
yes. So
It's got to go downtown and get some ornaments off of those trees.
Really? I know where you can find some ornaments. I think you loaned them to the windows in downtown.
a few of them, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, anything this evening?
Nothing other than wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I appreciate what we do, and we'll keep it going next year.
Thank you. Mr. Boynton?
Same, just happy holidays to everybody. Alice, you definitely are going to be impossible to replace. Do we have, where are we in the process?
Yeah, we have posted the position in general, and Alice encouraged us to also post it with the GFOA, which we did this past week, right? We have not received an overwhelming number of applications, to be honest with you. The last time I checked, there were only 3. So this will be probably a little bit of a longer process. And of course, the time of year, I think, has a lot to do with that as well. But just for all of the board members' information, Alice has generously given us time to do this. She's not holding us to a cold, hard date that we have to finish this process. To quote her, she's as interested as seeing the right candidate in the position as she is to see it happen, sooner than later. So, and it's just how
Mayor,
Alice
I'm sorry, did you call on me, Mayor?
did what?
I'm sorry, something with my audio was.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. So, this is it for us for 2020. I can honestly tell you it's a year that I'm happy to see go. But we are heading into budget season immediately with so many things to be thinking about. And I want to talk at some point before we go too far into the budget season about strategically what is the wisest way for us to handle what is going to happen in the next 4 years. So what we know is with new school construction, we are going to see a significant increase in our mill rate, when we bring that debt service on. I think the year 24, 25, which is, like I say, only 4 years away, there'll be $6.8 million added to our budget, and I'm not sure how it would be best to strategically plan for that, to build up to that, so I think that's going to require a little bit more of a dialogue with the Board of Finance as to what your recommendations are so that we can, I won't say mitigate that, but certainly plan for it and be prepared for it.
Excuse me,
Go ahead.
Oh.
Chris, go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. Were you looking to start a dialogue and ideas about that now, or should we
No,
bring that in the next session?
I think in January. And what I might actually do is try to just do some working sessions with the Board of Finance. And if it requires a special meeting for us to just have that one agenda item where we could just talk this over, talk it out, and, think about what those options are and where we're going. As long as the board is aware that that's something that I'd like to get a handle on before we get into the, to the department budgets. So January is what I'm thinking, Chris.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any updated figures as to, I remember the presentation and how we anticipated the mill rate to start jumping up in a few years. Have any of those numbers changed significantly, or is there an updated spreadsheet we could look at?
So there is not. We're still anticipating, the full construction was approved at the 159 million. It all really hinges on how much the state gives by way of school construction grant. I know that they approved the construction for 1,500 students, but we're still seeing a decline in the enrollment, and I don't know if that's going to change the state's allocation. But based on what was approved and what we anticipate to be funded through the state, I think we're still looking at that same debt service.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll bring out those old spreadsheets that Bill Lindsley prepared for us. Yes.
Mayor, I was wondering if it would be possible to have a joint meeting between the City Council, the Board of Finance, and our representatives and senators. I think, again, Torrington is just unique in the northwest corner. And I really need for them to understand what's at stake here in Torrington. And I think, I know the session starts on, I think, the 6th or something like that. So
It does.
they would already be into it, but it is a long session because it's the budget year this year. And it's not going to be pretty at the state.
So I can certainly reach out to them. I think from what I'm hearing, their session is actually going to be virtual. So the good news is in the past, it's been problematic trying to schedule these meetings because they're actually out in Hartford for a protected period of time. So if we're going to do a Zoom meeting on an evening, it might not be as bad. So I can certainly try to pull something together.
Does the rest of the Board of Finance think that might be helpful?
Yes, very much. Thank you. It's a very good idea.
Okay.
Yep, agreed.
Sure.
All right. We'll reach out to them and see what we can schedule. All right. I guess that's really it that I have. And the same here. Merry Christmas to everybody. Wishing everybody good health through the holidays, good health to your families. I guess I'll see you all next year. There's no other business before the board, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Anderson.
All right, I heard Chris Anderson, I heard Chris Bayes, all in favor?
Aye,
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.